Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Sabbath class, 13th of November, 2021. I'll be dealing with the Book of Jubilees and the birth of Isaac and all those surrounding that from the perspective coming from the Book of Jubilee. Okay. I'm gonna ask everybody to like and share and subscribe to Prophets of Awakening. Hit the notification button. This is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah only. Tanakh is the Old Testament, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai by the Lord of hosts. Okay? Okay, let me blow my nose, excuse me. Okay, so I say shalom and welcome everyone. We're going to do our moment of silence with our prayer, our psalms, and then go into the current event. Okay, this moment of silence is for our Creator and the Lord of hosts and all that they are doing to, bring about our deliverance from this captivity that we're in. Oh Lord, we come before thee this Sabbath day, bow down with great respect for our Redeemer. Oh Lord, you confess through your prophet Isaiah that you would return unto us and that you would pour out your spirit upon us. This you have done, O Lord, in great fashion, and because of this, we have found you within your holy scripture, great in counsel and mighty in works. For thine eyes are open upon the ways of men to give everyone according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doing. O Lord, behold, thou hast made the heavens and the earth by thy great power and stretched out arm. There is nothing too hard for thee. Knowing all these things, O Lord, we eagerly await thy coming, the day in which thou wilt break the yoke of our oppressors. Peace be unto you. Okay. Read the Psalms right quick. I'm gonna read Psalms 4. It's an evening prayer of trust in God, right? So it says, "Hear me when I call, O God, of my righteousness. Thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress. Have mercy upon me and hear my prayer. O ye sons of men, how long will you turn my glory into shame? How long will you love vanity and seek after leasing? Selah, but know that the Lord hath set apart him that is godly for himself, and the Lord will hear when I call upon him. Stand in awe and seeing not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Selah, offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Lord. There'll be many that say, who will show us any good? Lord, lift up the light of thy countenance upon us. Thou hast put gladness in my heart, more than in the time that their corn and their wine increased. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only maketh me dwell in safety. Okay, that Psalms 4 is an evening prayer of trust in the Lord. Okay, anybody got a comment? Okay, what stuck out to me when I saw that, reason I read that was it says that it's an evening prayer, right? And when you understand that it's 3 times a day, they make oblations to the Most High. They make sacrifices. They make morning, noon, and evening sacrifices to Him. And that's what he said. That's what he brought to cease. He calls that to stop from when anti-Epiphanies came. Never since anti-Epiphanies came, those three sacred oblations 3 times a day have stopped. So imagine that. So anyway, so at those oblations they making prayer. So he's telling you right here, the evening prayer. It's the evening prayer. So it's the evening prayer at the end of the day when they're making last oblation to the Most High. So notice what he says. He says, hear me when I call on God, O my righteousness. Thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress. I have mercy upon me and hear my prayer. Right? So it's the evening prayer, the evening oblation. O ye sons of men, how long will you turn my glory into shame? How long will you love vanity and seek after leasing? Selah. But know that the Lord hath set apart him that is godly for himself, and the Lord will hear when I call upon him. Stand in the aisle and sin not. Commune, here we go. Commune with thy heart upon thy bed. It's the evening sacrifice. And be still. So see what he says? Commune with thy heart, with your heart. You rationing stuff out. Rationing out what the Most High done that day and what he done for you in the past. You rationing out in your heart. Yeah, it says, but know that the Lord hath say commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness and put your trust in the Lord. So this offer sacrifices of righteousness is that last oblation in the evening oblation. So anyway, like I was saying before, uh, we doing all this stuff. The righteous ones doing this, but not really understanding what it is, what's going on. So he said that he said I saw something else. Let me see if I find it. Yeah, he said
Shalom.
okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I didn't mean to interrupt.
now go ahead. What you got?
I I was just looking at verse 8. It says, I will both lie down in peace and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. There's that peace that only comes from Him, and it's a different kind of peace. And it's not the peace of this world or in material things. Um, and He's the one that's keeping us safety, dwelling in safety.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. Let me show you something on that because I mean this this comes from like I said, getting a better understanding and being experiences with dealing with the Most High, and so it's a spirit world, right? So let's go back over here. I was telling you about in Second Samuel, right quick. And it's ironic that you brought that up, but I'm in Second Samuel 22, I think it is. So I'm in chapter 22, 2 Samuel 22 and 4. David says, I will call on the Lord who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies, right? So who is these enemies he talking about? When the waves of death go past me, so David died. He found himself, he had died. And he got a soul and a body. The body housing the soul. I will call on the Lord who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. When the waves of death go past me, floods of ungodly men made me afraid. That's these wicked spirits from these giants made him afraid. Once he died and his soul left the body, there these wicked spirits was. But guess what? All the time David was alive, these same wicked spirits were attacking him. So go back. Remember, David killed Goliath. David a giant killer. So now we back over your song and look at verse 8. I will both lay down. So he's going to go to sleep, close his eyes and go to sleep. Say, I will go lay down in peace. See that you want to go to sleep in peace and sleep. For thou, Lord, art only making me to dwell safe. So while you sleep, you've been attacked by these demonic spirits while you sleep. You think you just have a wicked dream or a bad dream just for the hell of it? No, they entering in. They can enter into you. Just like Gabriel came and enter into Daniel. That's how they cause you to have a vision. The Most High give him a vision to give to a certain prophet. He comes down, enter into that prophet, and give him the vision. Let's look at it. I'm in Numbers. Uh, Numbers 23. Okay, number 24. This is Balaam. Balak trying to get Balaam to Israel is coming out of the land of Egypt, crossing the wilderness, heading toward Canaan, and Balaam is from Moab, and he wants Balak, a priest and a prophet, to curse them off this mountaintop while they passing. But the Lord of hosts standing there with Balaam. Uh, Balak can't see him, so it says he keep on trying to get him to curse him, but every time he get ready to curse them, the Lord of hosts enter into Balaam and cause him to prophesy a good to Israel. So we gonna pick it up in the last time it happened. It says, so you can get a feel for what I'm talking about. I'm gonna start at uh, 14, 24 and 14. And now behold, I will go into my people. Come therefore, and I will advise thee what this people shall do to thy people in the latter days. So he get ready to do it again, prophesy. So it says, and he took up his parable and said, Balaam the son of Pierre has said, and the man whose eyes are open. So when they say a man's eyes is open, means that spirit on him. That's what it means. So these angels coming in, they dealing with that pineal gland. When they enter into you, they dealing with the pineal gland. That's why it's there. So he says, and now behold, I go into my people. Come therefore, and I will advise thee what this people shall do to thy people in the latter days. And he took over a parable and said, Balaam the son of Pierre has said, the man whose eyes are open, has said, and he has said, which heard the words of the Lord. See that? Heard the words of the Lord and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw in a vision. So that's when the angel came in. You saw in a vision the Almighty falling into a trance. See that? But having his eyes open. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not now. There shall come a star out of Jacob, the scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab. See that? That's the same very dude that tried to get him to curse him. He's the king over Moab, and destroy all the children of Seir. So, like I was saying before, they enter into him. That's how these prophets get the vision. The angel got the vision, enter into him through the vision, dealing with the pineal gland, cause him to see the vision. Well, these wicked ass spirits doing the same thing while you sleep. That's why you have them whacked out dreams. So, from first-hand experience, we keep seeing that the Lord of hosts, there's something going on with it. Let me show you that right quick. I'm in Daniel chapter 12. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with testing everything out. You know what I'm saying? You got to take my word for it. So, I'm in Daniel chapter 12. Okay, what's up, Wes? I'm in Daniel chapter 12. And it says, let me get it. Chapter 12, verse 7. It's the Lord of hosts. Michael, the archangel. So it says, and I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand under heaven. So you see something going on with that. When you stretch, that's why I keep saying he stretched forth his hand, stretch forth his hand. So when you go in the Hebrew and look at the Yah, or Lord of Hosts, and you know, because it's imagery, just like they use with the hieroglyphics, they use images. So it's the image of a man with his hand stretched to help. Even on the with the sun god Ra and all that in Egypt, they got the man hand stretched up, two hands stretched up to heaven. So there's something going on with that. So that's the proper way to address the Most High when you pray to Him. It's your hand stretched forth on heaven. And so you say, what you talking about? Well, you got your hand stretched up to heaven with them open, your hands open, and you showing Him. You ain't trying to trick Him. You ain't got nothing in your hands. You got your hand stretched forth to heaven. So based on my experience,
Shalom.
okay,
To me, that symbolizes you're welcoming him in. And they
right,
want us to close our hands
and
when
bow
we
down on your
pray.
knees.
They taught us to do, yes, yes.
Right, it's the opposite. Right. So, when you do that, like I was saying before, there's so much stuff going on, but we not understanding it. So first of all, when you born, we got a little hole in the top of our head. Everybody should. I know the women know that. The baby got a little soft spot on top of his head, right? Hello,
Yes, uh-huh.
baby got a little hole. So soul can lead the body. It's in and out of the body. Like that's why that hole is there. But anyway, so sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and can't move because the soul ain't there. Then you can't move. You thinking some kind of demonic activity. Then the soul come back in it. Then you snap back. But anyway, if you so these spirits, these wicked spirits entering in you, like I said, you get suggestions, wicked ass suggestions from certain places. You thinking it's you, it ain't you. You're being seduced, like Eve said. So stretch forth your hands on heaven and pray to the Most High. They gotta go. They can't stay there when you do that. So then you hear your ears pop, you yawn, and all this. That they them leaving. So then you can go to sleep. That's what he's talking about. Let me read it again. I'm in Psalm. Like I say, try it out. Um, Psalm 3. He says, no, what that was I read? Yeah, Psalm 4. Then 8. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only maketh me to dwell safely. Then you can sleep peacefully, safely. Once you stretch up for your hands to heaven, get rid of them, you know. Like I said with the flood, people can't they don't understand that these fallen angels was the ones that brought the giants on the earth. They got wings. So when the flood came, all they did was went up in the air. Oh, they just went up. They ain't in the water. They ain't get drowned. And then they say, well, how you get giants after the flood? They came right back. Same with a fly on dung. You come over there and run the fly off, they fly off. As soon as you leave, the flies come back. Buzzing on the side of the road. You come by in the car, some dead on the side of the road, he fly off. As soon as you pass by, he come right back. Same thing. Same thing with these wicked ass spirits. But most people don't even know how to get rid of them, how to run them out. They can't be around nowhere holy. When you start praying and address them, because your words are spirit. The words in the same dimension they ain't. You can't see the words, you can't see them, you can't see the words. They're in the same dimension. So when you uh, straight up address them, they got to get. But the average person don't know that. So yeah. Any comments?
That's huge, Brother Leonard.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had to learn it the hard way, you know. So yeah, so that's what's going on the whole time. Like I say, when he says that, uh, you know, Daniel said he was limp. on the ground, couldn't move. We can't move. The angelic being is entering into him. We can't move. We dumb. And so, like I said, that's the whole purpose of the pineal gland. They going into you to the pineal gland. That's the purpose of the pineal gland. Then he calls you to have dreams. Calls you to have visions. That's what Joseph did when he left. And when he got the understanding from the Lord of hosts to come back and tell the Pharaoh, the angel entered into him, gave him the information he needed. Then he came back and told him. So the Most High said, if you want to get the proper rendition of what he's talking about, he said, only Moses. Everybody else, I got angels going into these men dealing with their pineal gland, but I didn't talk to Moses face to face. That's the proper understanding of that. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're gonna go to nobody have no questions or comments about that. We're gonna go to current events.
I have a
Anybody
quick question, real quick.
what you got?
Um, where is it that it talks to us about how we should pray since we've been kind of thrown off? Is it like just observing what the prophets did, or is it a certain place in the Bible that we can look at that? Raise your hand facing the east and all of that.
The only things is somewhat similar to it, but most of it is from paying attention to the scriptures. Like I said, thinking like a Hebrew. But Solomon actually tell you how to do it, but Solomon tell you what uh, he tell you to face toward the east. He says anytime that you have a problem in Israelite, they have a problem after he had constructed the temple. If they face toward Jerusalem and pray to Mount Zion, to that temple, then he's charging the Most High, the Lord of Hosts, to hear that particular person's prayer.
Okay, and then the raised hands is where?
Well, I just told you one of them was when, Michael, he stretched forth his hands unto heaven in Daniel chapter 12. And then when Moses got ready to open the Red Sea, he told
Yeah, I
him,
thought about that. Okay,
stretch forth your hand.
okay,
Right. And
thank
then it's in the other places, but we ain't zeroed in on it and pay attention to what's going on. And like I was saying, when you go back to the Hebrew uh, alphabet, when you get to Lord of Hosts, in fact, and really know who the Lord of Hosts is, showing you a man with his hands raised.
you. I know they always was saying that we need to be doing. I can't remember what it was. Opposite of what the others are doing. So
Right.
if they're you know bowing down and you know yeah they were saying that we need to kind of be aware of that. If we're doing the same thing that they're doing, then we need
Right.
to examine it. Yeah.
Right. So let me look at, because you said that. Let me show you this right here. This like I said, most of it is simple. We've been thrown off with the New Testament, so we don't get it. I mean, Exodus chapter 3. You got it.
Yes. Okay.
So verse 1. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, priest of Midian. He led the flock to the backside of the desert, came to the mountain of God, to Horeb. So we know these angels on these fallen ones, and they on these mountains. They dealing with these mountains. So you should be surprised. Verse 2. The angel of the Lord appeared, because that's the mountain where he dwell at. That's the Lord of hosts. He on this mountain. Appeared unto him in the flame of a fire out of the midst of the bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside to see this great sight, while the bush is not burned. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, then Yahweh, see, the Lord is a Michael, the fire on the bush. Then Yahweh, Michael is his eyes, one of his eyes. He got 7 eyes, so we can see everything what Michael's looking at. Then Yahweh from heaven called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said to Moses, Moses, here I am. Now here go where I'm going. 5. And he said, draw nigh hither, pull off thy shoes from off thy feet, right? Over the place wherein thou standest is holy ground, right? So Moses gonna bow down, take his shoes off and bow down, cause of the angel right there, right? Hello?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
What, so Michael, the angel standing right there when you understand what's going on. So he get down, bow down to him, right? So let's go over here to Daniel chapter 12. Daniel chapter 12, verse 7. And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, which held up his right hand and his left hand under heaven. See that? So why is he stretching forth his hands under heaven?
Mm-hmm.
That's where Yahweh is.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't got to bow down to nobody on earth. He's Lord in heaven. This the Lord of hosts, right?
Got it. Mm-hmm.
So he's standing on the water. He got to stretch his hands up to heaven. But Moses right there at Mount Sinai, the angel right there. Why would he stretch his hand way up to heaven when it's his Lord right there standing in front of him on the burning bush? See that?
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Anybody else got a thing?
Hey, Leonard,
Yeah.
like Daniel, he's a good example in 6 and 10, how he uh turned toward Jerusalem when he prayed.
Right. Right. Yeah. He was in distress, and so he said, "Oh, he needed to pray." So he stretched forth. So he prayed. And
So
then
he
we saw,
prayed toward Jerusalem because that's where his the Lord of hosts, the
right.
Mount
That's what the Lord
Zion.
said.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Right. Make that song? Yeah.
So I'm
See?
looking at that Daniel 6 and 10, and it was saying, is that where I guess the Muslim religion gets set 3 times a day? Because it
Right.
says that Daniel kneeled on his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God.
Right. Right. But you also have to remember uh, the father of the Muslims, father of the Arabs is Ishmael. Ishmael was raised by Abraham.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And same with the, like I'm saying about how the New Testament come about. Esau was raised by Isaac and Abraham. He's right there in the house with them. The scriptures back and forth just like Jacob and the rest of them. So that's how they was, like I said, that's how they was able to get away as long as they were passing as the Israelites, because they knew our culture. Even to this day, a synagogue, it don't register with most people, but a synagogue, but everything they're doing in the synagogue is what the Israelites is doing. So for the longest, because the Most High hadn't raised our spirit yet, they was getting away with it because there wasn't no other alternative. But now you got these Israelites waking up and telling you that they the real Israelites. But for years, you know, everybody thought they was the Israelites. They thought they was the people of God, because then they had no other alternative except all they saw was what they done. But now he bringing us back, waking us up, bringing our culture back. So it's a whole different ballgame. Even Lot, with the two sons he had, Moab and Ammon, all these people had firsthand encounters with our culture and our religion. I mean, with our culture and with our way of life. because they do they direct kinsmen to us. That's where all the drama comes from. Let me read this right quick. Psalms 83. Psalms 83 says, I read this last night, I think. Psalms 83 says, David praying says, keep not silent, O God, hold not thy peace, be not still, O God, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. So verse 6 lists those enemies. Tabernacle Edom, that's Esau, that's kinfolks. Ishmaelites, that's kinfolks. Moab, kinfolks. The Hagarenes, Gebal, Ammon, that's kinfolks. Amalek, that's kinfolks. All these people they was raised. They know, they know our way of life. So when Ishmael went away from Abraham, he still had that understanding. He lived by that understanding. So yeah. Okay. Okay. Anybody have any current event they want to mention? Okay, let me play this right quick. Because this situation right here is getting dire.
Last year, the U.S. economy suddenly ground into a halt. This year, things eventually picked up speed and started moving again, but only to get stuck again in the biggest logjam ever recorded in our nation's history. Our supply chains are suffering from extended disruptions, and the severity of this crisis is already apparent to the naked eye. Consumers are witnessing empty shelves in major supermarkets all around the country. Car plants are being shut down due to a shortage of semiconductors. Ports remain extremely congested, and millions of containers are now stuck at cargo ships outside the coast of California that can wait up to a month for a berth to finally be able to dock. The situation is so out of control that things have been similarly chaotic onshore, where hundreds of thousands of containers are being piled up after being unloaded from those massive ships. As one industry insider described, right now the backlog of containers stretches as far as the eye can see. In one very revealing video recently posted on social media, a dock worker showed the gigantic piles of undelivered shipping containers sitting at a key U.S. port, exposing the true extent of the supply chain crisis plaguing our nation. Over the past year, numerous disruptions were recorded. Months ago, a key index of the industry found that shortages caused by supply chain bottlenecks jumped up by over 400% from 2020 levels. The combination of several issues, including steep imbalances between supply and demand, a slowdown in global manufacturing, rising shipping and logistics costs, and severe worker shortages, have all contributed to the worsening situation we're seeing today. In the video released on TikTok, the supply chain worker who's said to be in charge of crane operations used his smartphone to document the staggering amount of shipping containers stacked and awaiting distribution on the quay side. The TikTok video uploaded on October the 13th has already over 3.6 million views on the social media site. In the 30-second clip, you can also hear the worker complaining about the status quo. The user, identified as Stanimal18, has 12 other videos documenting the shipping container industry. In one of them, he says that one of the reasons everything is backed up is that our container yards are stuffed to the hilt with containers. He records the process from lifting the containers from the cargo ships to loading them in vehicles that will transport them to warehouses. We need truck drivers to pick up our goods, and truck drivers for us are all robots. This is an automated terminal.
Okay. Any comments? No comments? Let me get this right quick. Okay.
My friends, dearly beloved, this is a call to all of humanity that I make today. It's a call to human beings of all colors and creeds of all nations. But in particular, it's a call to Africans at home and abroad to rush to the aid of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a great nation, one of the greatest nations on earth to have survived for 3,000 years, rooted in the Bible and the three wise men, one of whom was from Abyssinia, the historical name for Ethiopia. Today, Ethiopia is under attack. It has a very unkind media that has distorted the story of that nation and has opened floodgates of lies to undermine a legitimate government headed by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. I do not know Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. I've never met him, never spoken to him, but I had the good fortune recently to go to Ethiopia. What was that mission? Well, I want to give thanks at this point in time to David Johannes, the cousin of Prince Umir Selassie Haile Selassie, and his friends, Mesfin Makonnen, Tabubu, and others, who invited me to meet with Ethiopian coffee farmers a month ago in Addis Ababa. When I arrived, I met a friendly people, proud, majestic, a bustling city with skyscrapers and buildings and cranes, engaged in the construction of a thriving African nation. My friends, today, Ethiopia is in peril. It's in peril because major nations in this world, including those in the West that should know better, have given support, either directly or indirectly, to tribal forces that disregard the decision of the Ethiopian people to elect Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. The government of Ethiopia is recognized by the African Union, the United Nations, the United States, the United Kingdom, and all major countries. Why then do we see a constant effort aimed at denying the legitimacy of that government and elevating to some degree of parity the tribal forces arrayed against that government? I call on all Ethiopian brothers and sisters, do not drink the Kool-Aid of the tribalists. The tribalist in African history is a handmaiden of colonialism. I was born in the small British colony of Dominica, which, like Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, and the other Caribbean islands, were peopled by people of African descent who were enslaved to grow the wealth of Western Europe, Britain in this case, with the complicity of some tribal leaders who worked hand in glove with some of the colonialists to sell our people into slavery. Unfortunately, they did not recognize the importance of strategic unity of purpose. They did not recognize the fact, as Abraham Lincoln said, a house divided against itself cannot stand. So they allowed themselves to be consumed in exchange for a few trinkets and some rot-gut liquor by those who came bearing gifts to steal the fruit of Africa. And they gave way to their tribalist sentiments. What did that result in Africa? 400 years of colonial rule and enslavement of our people at home and abroad. That, my friends, is what faces Ethiopia today. The destruction of a great state, a state that is at the cusp of great things, a state that just recently set up a space agency, planned to send a rocket to space within 5 years, a state that's built the biggest dam, arguably in Africa, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, that would revolutionize industry in that country by providing affordable electricity. A great many Ethiopians, the majority, I dare say, are without electricity. Without electricity, you are unable to engage in the information revolution. You're unable to power the new technologies of the 21st century. Those are the things that we, as Africans in the diaspora, Africans in Africa, Ethiopians, humans, should focus on. Things that my father, Wendell Mackenzie Christian, who served in the British Army and who respected Emperor Selassie, called meaningful things.
Okay. What you think? Anybody got a comment? Okay, yeah. So my take on that is that these people at work again, you know, like I said, they getting ready to do something here real soon, and so I think they up to something like 24 leaders, African leaders, have been murdered in this year. So they're doing something. They got something going on. It's all this stuff you see going on is all tied together. They're getting ready to roll out something. Even that Facebook changing their name. I think all that stuff is tied together. So, but people, you know, they're not looking at it. You know, it's only one group of people at the top. So everything that's happening is coming from them. So it's got to be all linked. Like I was saying before with the Georgia Guidestones. A lot of people don't even know that, but they got these Georgia Guidestones that they already told you what they wanted. We got these stones, big, I think 30, 40-foot stones they put on this plot of land over in Georgia. And it's got, it's written in 5 different languages telling you that they want to cull the population down to 500 million people, the world population. And you can see that's what they're doing. Ever since they put them up, we've been getting all these different whacked out things been happening to the population. Okay, I don't want to go into it, but yeah. So if nobody don't have nothing, I'm gonna open it up for some Q&A, and we'll deal with the Q&A, and then we'll go into the Book of Jubilees and deal with the birth of Isaac and all that surrounding that, shine some light on some things. Anybody got any questions or comments about anything they wanted to get some clarity or discuss?
Hey, Leonard.
Okay.
More like a comment about that praying. It just made me think. You know, I looked at how Michael, you know, in Deuteronomy 32, he lifted up his hands to heaven, to Yahweh, and everybody, you know, human beings, the Israelites, you know, they prayed toward Mount Zion in Jerusalem, and then I look at the New Testament. They say you got to go through JC,
right,
to get to, you know, Yahweh, and they just cutting out. They just put him in the place of Michael. All they did, right?
Right, but they made a grave mistake too, because of what we talk about right now. So remember the image that Nebuchadnezzar made?
Right.
What did he tell them to do? When you hear the sound of the fluke and the trumpet and all that, get down on the ground and bow down on your knees, right?
Right.
So that image he made is an idol, right?
Right.
What you got to do with JC?
Yep. That's it.
Do you stretch forth your hands to JC, or you get down on the ground with your knees? Come on.
Yeah. I see it.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, Leonard, I have a question.
What you got?
In the book of Jonah, chapter 1, in verse 7, they cast lots to determine who brought the wickedness of the sea raging upon them, the
right,
mariners, and the
right.
lot fell upon Jonah. My question is, what exactly is the casting of lots in the scriptures?
It's the same thing. It's a ritual. If you go back to you go back to those Africans. You know how those Africans they have those bones, witch doctors, they throw them bones out.
Yes.
And then they say, a certain thing would happen with those bones. Then they, like with in Obadiah, they said they cast lots for Jerusalem, right?
Right. See, I
So
took that as the dividing of property in
yeah,
Obadiah
okay, so let's look at it. How many lots is it?
12.
Okay, so they got 12 sticks. And they cast them out and then or pull them out, and you pull one, whatever lot is on there, that's the lot they got. It ain't their land. They came in and took the land.
Right, right, right.
And then you say, what you talking about? Well, they did the same thing in the West, Wild West. You come to a city, you get there, and then they have a certain amount of land they finna give away because they wasn't selling it, they was giving it away, and so they put out lots, and they pull a lot, and then when they see, they look on there, what's on there, where the area at, they go to that area and get that land. And then another one, which can bring us to the conversation we talked about earlier before we got on the line. How did they get? Remember, Judas got killed, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So the story goes, the Jews got killed where they was missing a apostle. So they had to cast lots to get Bartholomew. Bartholomew replaced Judas. I don't know if you know that, but
Right.
Bartholomew. So they cast lots. They pulled straws,
Okay.
and then that's how you got Bartholomew.
Okay.
Okay, so this is like us, and then go to JC on the cross. What the Roman soldier was doing for his robe.
For his robe.
Yeah, and he's on the cross. And the Roman soldier cast lots for the Roman soldiers down on the ground cast lots for his robe.
Oh, okay. They can't.
So they pulled straws.
Got you. I
They
got
pulled
you.
straws.
Okay.
So we know that's Caesarian. So I'm not trying to vindicate him. I'm telling you, we know that's Caesarian. On the cross. So
Right.
anyway, so yeah, they cast lots. So they pull straws, and the one that got a certain mark on one of them, and whichever one pulled that, the one got the robe.
That kind of makes sense because Caesarion father being a Roman, Caesar, that's
Right,
why they cast those lots. So that kind of makes sense.
right.
Now
And then,
that you
like I
brought
said,
that
they
up.
call him a bastard. They call him a bastard for a reason because Julius Caesar slept with Cleopatra. Julius
Right.
Caesar already had a wife. He had a Greek wife back at
Okay.
home. That's why they hated Cleopatra because saying that why would you go and it was cool because they were sleeping with little children and all that, but he brought to Rome. That's what pissed off the Greek, the Romans and the Greeks when he brought her to Rome. That's what pissed them off.
Okay.
But anyway, so like I said, once you get that in your head who he is, then you can dialogue because we know who they say he is. But yeah.
Hey, one more additional question on the casting of lots. Is the Urim and Thummim is that similar in the casting of the lots?
Well,
And
well
where that it has some type of power?
yeah, but it go back to what I said about the angel entering into the person and dealing with the pineal gland. So they go into the holy of holies, and this priest got these 12 stones on his breastplate, where that Urim and Thummim is behind that breastplate. The breastplate sitting on top of these two stones. When they go in there, whatever sin or whatever issue was going on in Israel in that particular tribe, that stone gonna light up. So that's
Right.
supernatural.
Okay.
That's spiritual. That's supernatural. They ain't the same as cast a lot.
Gotcha.
All right. Yeah. So what was that what you was talking about Bartholomew?
Oh, we was having that discussion earlier about in the book, the Gospel of Bartholomew,
Right.
where Satan tells Adam about how he was made, how he was formed, and about how the reason why he was upset with man and how and the fall and his fall, subsequently his fall from grace, from
Right.
glory rather. Uh, so yeah, that is outlined in chapter 4 in the Gospel of Bartholomew, and it's just a really interesting read. That you on top of all the layers of what they put in about Jesus Christ and what he's
Right.
is doing, you do get a chance to see how they took our biblical records and added into their writings, because
Right.
that whole story of the fall of Satan comes from the book of the life of Adam and Eve.
Right.
So if you lay those two side by side, that story is retold. So you can see how they took it from this one biblical record and added to this gospel to
Right.
enlighten, uplift Christ, elevate him to some type
Right.
of status.
Right. It become evident what they
Right.
done. You can look at it. Right. Yes, I'm gonna read some of that because it ties to something else in the scriptures. I'm in the book of Bartholomew. I'm in uh, let's see what chapter this is. It's 4, it's 52. Says, but the devil said, "Suffer me." So, uh, so-called. I'm gonna read it. So he said, "But the devil said, Suffer me. I will tell thee how I was cast down into this place, and how the Lord did make man. Say, I was going to and fro in the world, and God said unto Michael." See that? Go back to what I was telling you in Genesis chapter 1. God said, did Michael do it? God said, did Michael do it? So it says, and God said unto Michael, Bring me a cloud from the four corners of the earth, and water out of the four rivers of paradise. And when Michael brought them to them, God formed Adam in the region of the east, and shaped the cloud with shapeless, that was shapeless, stretched sinews upon veins upon it, established it with joints. And he worshipped him uh, himself for his own sake first, because he was the image of God. Therefore, he worshipped him. Like so. Then I was telling you about it. Then it says, and he came from the ends of the earth. It says, and I came from the ends of the earth and said, Worship thou in the image of God, which he hath made according to his likeness. But I said, I am fire of fire, and I was the first angel formed, and shall worship clay and matter. So let's look at that. So yeah, this the first hand account. It's almost like being taken back and sit down on the shores of Alexandria, right there where the library is. So check this out. So he just said, now they worship Lucifer too. Now you gotta understand it. They worship Lucifer. So we're gonna look what Michael tells us in Isaiah 43. I'm in Isaiah, quick. Isaiah 43 says, Isaiah 43 and uh 10. Ye are my witnesses, says the Lord. This is Michael, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me and understand I am he. Before me there was no L form, neither shall there be after me. So he's telling you right here, he was the first one formed. So now they over here, they dealing with Lucifer. So now he's gonna tell you right here, Lucifer gonna say that uh says, and when I came from the ends of the earth, Michael said, Worship thou the image of God, which ye have made according to his likeness. But I said, I am fire of fire. I was the first angel. So you got an angel here. So his angel goes over there too, but they put God there. But he says, I am the first angel formed. See that? And shall worship clay and matter. But he ain't the first angel formed. And then not only that, we know these 7 angels made out of fire. But you can't rightly divide it if you don't understand just all the other information. It's gonna go right over your head. But so we see how they flip this all around right here. But it's all you can see another thing. I ain't gonna want to go too far from that. So 1 and 26 Genesis. This is what they, like I said back in the day, they couldn't perceive that everything they did was gonna get exposed later on. They was just trying to get hoodwink the people at the time. So Genesis 1:26, God said, let us make man in our image, right? So they done told us that's the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. But when you're over here in Bartholomew, and you have to understand, when they wrote Bartholomew, today wasn't, but they had no inkling about today. So it says, back over here in Bartholomew, I will tell thee how I was cast down into this place and how the Lord did make man. He's going to tell you how he made man. Back to Genesis 1:26. I was going to and fro in the world, and God said unto Michael. So we know it ain't no Holy Ghost, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. See that? He says, God said to Michael, bring me a cloud from the 4 corners of the earth and water out of the 4 rivers of paradise. And when Michael brought them, God formed Adam in the region of the east. Yeah, so there ain't no Father, Son, Holy Ghost. That was added because of the Trinity that was in Egypt. That's where they at, in Egypt, Alexandria, Egypt. And they using all that, they synchronizing it. The Egyptian Book of Dead, all records, day records, they synchronize, and that's how they count. That's what Christianity is. Any comment? No comments? Okay. Yeah, so I was asked that question last night. Where did I get that? Where did I come across the information at? And I was showing you that I told him I was gonna come back and show you this. So I want to show you something else right quick. Let me open it up. Okay, let me do this. Okay, so see this book right here? This is another way how to divide this. See that? Now look down here. See that? See that little rose? I don't know if anybody understands about that rose, but that's satanic. Rosicrucian, I can't say that name, but it's a satanic order of people. They put that on there. So when you see that on there, that's their signal. It ain't for everybody. They don't understand what's going on. So they letting you know they didn't dealt with this information. That rose, you're gonna see that rose. All you gotta do is go type that in. That's a whole nother host of information that you need to deal with. The Rosicrucians, they the ones ended up over there. They really Edomites. Yeah, so that's how that goes. Then you notice that all these books that's coming out, they're gonna have that on there, and so you have to be able to go in there and let me back. You gotta go in there and write divide that. Okay. Let me see some of this stuff over here. Says the robe was a fulfillment of Psalms. The robe was a fulfillment of Psalms 22:18. Or Psalms 22:18. Let's look at 22:18. Come on. Psalms 22:18. Oh, this is clown, man. Let me get on. Yeah, I know that didn't sound right. Go get you a donut, bro. So let me see. Okay. Anybody have any comments?
Yeah, Leonard, I just want to add the rest of chapter 4, at least verses 54 through 59, is a good read if anyone wants to really grab the book of Bartholomew, because it does describe the fall of Satan and his enmity towards man.
Right,
Because so once you understand why he hate man, so it describes his plot to deceive Eve in the
right,
garden because of his enmity towards man.
right. That's in the Bartholomew you talking about?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, right,
Which
right.
also is in the book of the life of Adam and Eve, which is also known as the Apocalypse of Moses. So you may find, you may have to find the book, the Apocalypse of Moses, to get that information as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got that.
Hmm.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, once you start, you dive into those books and start dealing with them books, you begin to see how they hoodwinked them. But because we ain't had no access to them, you couldn't go. You didn't know whether to go right, left, or whatever. But once you lay your eyes on them, and understand who your redeemer is, a lot of that stuff just start falling off because it can't stand. Yeah. So anybody else got any questions or comments about anything? Okay. I dealt with the Bartholomew thing. So let me see. Okay. I'm going into Book of Jubilees. Start reading. Okay. It says. It says, and I shall establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. So it's just the feast of first fruits, circumcision instituted, promise of Isaac, the birth of circumcision ordained for Israel. Okay. 1 minute. Okay. So it says, so like I said, I think I explained this before, but what a lot of people don't know about this book of Jubilees is a jubilee is 7 times 7, which is 49, and that last year is add a year to that and get jubilee. It's 50 every 50 years. So jubilees, this book of jubilees, the angels telling the story because that's how they keep time in heaven by jubilees. So it's like, and notice how that's what I told you, these Edomites was raised. They get their information from Abraham too. Abraham Abraham went and lived with Shem and Eber. Even Jacob went and lived with Shem and Eber. Shem and Eber came lived before the flood. So they had all their knowledge they brought from before the flood from Enoch and Adam and all them. So when you come to the day, look at what these Edomites doing. They got the information that they have and the technology that they're dealing with is always they 50 years ahead of us. So they dealing with the same thing too. Like I said, Esau was raised by Abraham too. Ishmael. We the only ones being hoodwinked over here. We've been taken away from the knowledge. So let me start reading right here. So it says, uh, it's the first fruits, circumcision instituted, the promise of Isaac's birth, circumcision ordained. for all Israel. It says, and so these angels, I'm telling you, these angels wrote the book of Jubilees, uh, conveyed it. It says, in the 5th year of the 4th week of this Jubilee, in the 3rd month, in the middle of the month, Abraham celebrated the feast of the first fruits of the grain harvest, and he offered new offerings on the altar, the first fruits of the produce unto the Lord, a heifer and a goat and a sheep on the altar as a burnt sacrifice unto the Lord. Their first offering and their drink offering he offered upon the altar with frankincense. And the Lord appeared to Abraham and said unto him, I am God Almighty. Approve thyself before me and be thou perfect, and I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abraham fell on his face, and God talked with him and said, so see that right there? So we notice it says, let's go back over here. And the Lord appeared. We notice the Lord of hosts, Michael, appeared to him. He ain't standing in the back invisible. He showed himself to Abraham, right? And then it says, and God Almighty approve, approve thyself before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. Not only did he appear to him, he talking to him. Now look what Abraham do. Abraham fell on his face, and God talked with him. He ain't got to throw his hands up in the air because there's Lord right there in front of him. See that? So, behold, my ordinance is with thee, and thou will be the father of many nations, uh, father of many nations. Neither will thy name anymore be called Abraham, but thy name from hence even forever shall be Abraham. And it says, neither shall thy name be anymore called Abram, but thy name from henceforth even forever shall be Abraham. For the father of many nations have I made thee, and I shall make thee very great, and I shall make thee into nations, and kings shall come forth from thee, and I shall establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee throughout their generations for an eternal covenant, so that I may be a God unto thee and to thee, to thy seed after thee, and I shall give to thee and to thy seed after thee the land where thou hast been a sojourner, in the land of Canaan, that thou mayest possess it forever, and I shall be their God. And the Lord said unto Abraham, and as for thee, do thou keep my covenant, thou and thy seed after thee, and circumcise ye every male among you, and circumcise your foreskin, and it shall be a token of an eternal covenant between me and you. And the child on the 8th day ye shall circumcise every male throughout your generations, him that is born in the house, or whom ye have bought with money from any stranger, whom ye have acquired, who is not of thy seed. He that is born in thy house will surely be circumcised, and those whom thou hast bought with money will be circumcised. And my covenant will be with your flesh. My covenant will be with your flesh for an eternal ordinance. And the uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin on the 8th day, that soul will be cut off from his people. And he that have broken my covenant, and God, so for he has broken my covenant. And God said unto Abraham, as for Sarah, thy wife, her name will no more be called Sarah, but Sarah will be, Sarah, he says, but Sarah, let me get it right, her name shall no more be called Sarai, but Sarah will be her name. And I shall bless her and give thee a son by her, and I shall bless him, and he will become a nation, and kings of nations will proceed out from him. So let's look at this right quick. We're going to correct something right here right quick. So it says in Genesis 3:15, the Lord of hosts is talking to the serpent, and he said, I'm going to put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. So let's see if that makes any sense right here. It says, and God said to Abraham, he's talking to Abraham, as for Sarah thy wife, her name will no more be called Sarai, but Sarah will be her name, right? And I shall bless her. How you gonna bless her? I will give thee, Abraham, a son by her. See that? I shall bless her. How you gonna bless her? You're gonna give Abraham a seed by her, through her. So we see they concocted that over there. See that? And I shall bless him. See that? And he will become a nation. And kings of nations will proceed from him. And Abraham fell on his face and rejoiced, and said in his heart, Shall a son be born unto him? See that? Shall a son be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bring forth? You're looking at the order right there. And Abraham said unto God, Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Yea. And Sarah also will bear thee a son, and thou wilt call his name Isaac. And I shall establish my covenant with him, an everlasting covenant, and for his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, also have I heard thee. And behold, I shall bless him, and make him great, and multiply him exceedingly, and he shall begot 12 princes. And I shall make him a great nation. But my covenant shall I establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to thee in these days and in the next year. And he left off speaking with him, and God went up from Abraham. And Abraham did according to as God had said unto him, and he took Ishmael his son, and all that was born in his house, and whom he had brought with his money, every male in his house, and circumcised the flesh of his foreskin. So let's look at something here right quick, show you how thinking like Hebrew, how it makes a difference. So, you got a lot of people fumbling with this, and you're telling them that the God over Israel is Michael, is an angel, right? So let's look at 21. But my covenant shall I establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear unto thee in these days and in the next year. Look at this. Now let's check out what happened when Samson was born. The angel came to the lady and told us, and then he said she asked him what his name was, but he left. Then he came back again. She went and told her husband, look at that man, and came back again. So he asked him, he got into a conversation with him, and he wanted to know, was he an angel or not? And then the angel said, why are you asking after my name? So he told him to build a fire. He built the fire, and then the angel went up. He was fumbling with him, but then the angel showed him what time it was. He went up with the fire. He went into the fire and went on back up where he came from. So let's look at this. So, but my covenant shall I, this angel talking, but my covenant shall I establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear unto thee in these days and in the next year. And he left off speaking with him, and God went up from Abraham. He left and went up. It's an angel. Yeah, you ain't got to fumble with it. Just start thinking like a Hebrew. So he says, and he left off speaking with him, and God went up from Abraham. And Abraham did according to as God had said unto him, and he took Ishmael his son, and all that was born in his house, and whom he had bought with his money, every male in his house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin. And on the self same day was Abraham circumcised, and all the men of his house, and those born in his house, and all those whom he had bought with money from the children of strangers were circumcised with him. This law is for all the generations forever. And there is no circumcision of the days, and no emission of one day out of the 8 days, for it is an eternal ordinance, ordained and written on the heavenly tablets. And everyone that is born, the flesh of whose foreskin is not circumcised on the 8th day, belongeth not to the children of the covenant which the Lord made with Abraham, but to the children of destruction. Nor is there moreover any sign on him that is the Lord's. but he is destined to be destroyed and to be slain from the earth and to be rooted out of the earth. For we have broken the covenant of the Lord our God. For all the angels of the present and all the angels of sanctification have been so created on the day of their creation and before uh, the angels of the present and the angels of sanctification, he has sanctified Israel, and they shall be with him and with his holy angels, and to thou commanded the children of Israel, and let them observe the sign of this covenant for their generations as an eternal ordinance. And they will not be rooted out from the land, for the command is ordained for a covenant, that they should observe it forever among the children of Israel. For Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau, the Lord did not cause to approach him, and he chose them not because they are the children of Abraham, because he knew them, but he chose Israel to be his people. And he sanctified it and gathered it from among all the children of men, for there are many nations and many people, and all are his, and over all have he placed spirits and authority to lead them astray from him. But over Israel he did not appoint any angel or spirit. He alone is their ruler, and he will preserve them and require them at the hands of his angels and his spirits, and in all the hands of all his powers, in order that he may preserve them and bless them, that they may be his and he may be theirs for henceforth and ever. Okay? Any comments on what I read so far? Anything stick out?
Yes, the birth of Isaac was written on the heavenly tablets. Uh,
Okay.
from, from earlier in the verse that you read, that he was telling that to name the child to be born to him and Sarah
Yeah.
as Isaac. So it seemed like that was written on the heavenly tablets. What is that called? The book of life or the scriptures
Uh,
of truth?
yeah, scriptures are true.
Yes.
Let me see, make sure, man. We can make sure.
Yeah, because those books I know they kind of I get
Yeah,
them confused sometimes myself.
see, then second scripture truth. Let me see. Scripture truth. Yeah, so I want to shine light on something I read. Uh, if you go back, let me read it. Says, and Abraham did according to as God had said unto him, and he took Ishmael his son and all that were born in his house, and whom he had bought with money, and every male of his house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin. Right. So he had told him up here, uh, and the uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin on the eighth day, that soul will be cut off. Uh, he says, and the Lord said unto Abraham, and so for thee do thou keep my covenant, and thou and thy seed after thee, and circumcise every male among you, and circumcise ye every male among you, and circumcise your foreskin, and it will be a token, an eternal covenant between me and you. Right? So now let's look at what happened. And then he says, the self same day, he told him all that about Isaac. The self same day, Abraham circumcised him. So I'm going to Genesis chapter 15. Notice that this happened at the same time that Abraham had a dream and about to 400 years and all that. So I'm in verse 15 to 18. Says, in the self same day, same thing as we read over in Jubilees, the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river Egypt unto the great river Euphrates, the Kenite, All these giants right here, he had to circumcise all them. They belong to Abraham's house. All these giants had to get circumcised. This is where the drama came in. You got Og and all those other giants fighting with these giants, because now the Most High done circumcise these giants. And like I was saying before, you can't stay the same. There's something going on with the circumcision, because he said if they ain't circumcised, they destined to be destroyed. Well, look over here where we at. We ain't doing it over here. Look what's happening. We like lambs led to the slaughter because we ain't keeping the covenant. But anyway, he circumcised these giants right here, and something happened to him. And then I showed you that David got 30 some giants around him. Let's go look at it. But they circumcised, so he did something to, and so that's what this 100-year war happened. I mean, this 100 million giant war happened. That's how the Most High got rid of them. They ended up fighting in against each other because the other ones had a problem with the ones that had got circumcised. They called them infidels because they got circumcised. Oh, let me see. Yeah, I'm in 2 Samuel 23, and it says, "These are the names of the mighty men. Mighty men are the giants." Genesis 6 tell you that. These are the name of the mighty men whom David had. And then notice their name, Tishmite. They ain't no Israelite. That's a giant. So anyway, all of them are circumcised. But it started back when Abraham circumcised them. They became allies to the Israelites. Okay? So I'm just trying to line it out for you. All right. So, anybody else got any more comments? Got anything, Wesley? Got some news for us? Or okay. Okay. Everybody good?
I got a question about some stuff that's going on in the news right now. I guess the all of these federal mandates stopping the well, federal cases that are stopping the mandate. I'm just kind of wondering why now they're doing that. It's, they're saying that these private companies don't have to, you know, drink the Kool-Aid. That they can't force their people to do that. And then I was thinking about in New York with the whole Wendy Williams thing, where she was against it, but she went ahead and did it, and now she's been sick for like 2 or 3 months, and they're not
Right.
sure she can come back. But I'm sure she did it because she was in New York, and that's the way she had to keep the show. But I
Right.
remember her saying she didn't want it. She was talking to Dr. Oz. She said she didn't trust it, but she went ahead and did it. And now they're trying to say because of her Graves' disease, it caused complications. But she's always had Graves' disease. But as soon as she took it, now she's sick and can't even come back to work anyway. So I'm
Right.
just wondering why these mandates and is it certain areas? I know it's um a lot of them that's going on, but I'm just wondering why all of a sudden now is he didn't have the right and Congress didn't give him permission after all of these people have you know gone ahead and done it. It's just kind of sad.
Right. Right. But I mean, from me over the years and gathering that information, did you ever heard of you ever seen the Truman Show, the
Oh
movie?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like everything these people do is a reason behind it. And they, it plays out on on the news and everything. They just lead us in a certain direction. Another thing, like I was saying before, that the halogen dialectic, which is like Wendy's, KFC and Wendy's, the Colonel own both of them, but most people wouldn't know that. So you'll say, you pass by and say, I don't want to deal with KFC. I don't like the Colonel, but I'm gonna go to Wendy's. Well, Colonel own Wendy's too. So you've been played. So and when you start looking at these people, and when you understand who the Boule is and how the reason why America exists as long as they have is because of the Boule. They use them to control us. So you got to know that she done took that oath, and so they use them to manipulate us. They'll bring them out and like they like prime example is Al Sharpton. You know what I'm saying? He's the Boule. Well, when they have a major uprising, when the blacks start uprising, they send him out there to talk to him. And he not there because of whatever they're uprising about. He's out there because they didn't send him out there to quail it. And he gonna come out and he gonna say all this old black stuff, acting black, talking black, and all that just to get the. He's there to quail the uprising. He ain't there to deal with why they having the uprising. They ain't got nothing to do with it. So, they got some kind of agenda going on with this vaccine. So they using the people that they have in place to manipulate us to get that accomplished. And they just do it back and forth with that. You can't take nothing they do serious.
Yeah, because we haven't seen her. This is just,
Right,
I'm just, it's just, I mean, if most people woken up, we're not even listening to the Al Sharptons of the world anymore.
right, exactly.
Most of us that are, they're understanding what's going on. But yeah,
Right,
it's just, yeah. They're stopping it now. I think they have, my thinking is that they have about 50% of the population in the United States that have done it. So now they're getting a lot of resistance. So now they're trying, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. There's a reason for it.
right,
But all of a sudden the others, now they don't have to get it. And
right,
they're, you know, it's not us. It's not all of us. Like they try to, in the media to say it's us. It's not all us. It's mostly them.
right. Like this song? Yeah. Anybody else got anything? Okay. Get this right here. Okay, so we're gonna see y'all at 6 o'clock tonight for the evening Sabbath class. Shalom.
Um,
Okay.
Shalom.